Are we witnessing a bizarre reality, or is this simply a prolonged, painful nightmare? Every dedicated supporter of the Indiana Fever, every fan of Caitlin Clark, and anyone who values the integrity of women's professional basketball needs to listen closely. What occurred on the court was far from a standard loss. It felt like a deliberate, systematic dismantling of a generational talent. The Indiana Fever did not merely suffer a defeat against the Portland Fire, they endured an outright embarrassment. For the first time in franchise history, the team allowed an expansion opponent to score 100 points. The deficit reached 25, nearly 30 points, against a roster that was assembled only months ago. Currently, this squad is playing completely dysfunctional basketball, and the responsibility falls squarely on one individual. Stephanie White must be relieved of her coaching duties. This change cannot wait for next week or the conclusion of the season. It needs to happen immediately. It is time for her to pack her bags, surrender the playbook, and depart from Indianapolis. Let us analyze precisely why this performance goes beyond poor strategy and looks like genuine mismanagement. Consider the opening moments of the contest. As the first quarter began, Indiana showed genuine promise. Within the initial 2.5 minutes, Caitlin Clark looked completely focused, contributing 2 points, 3 assists, and a rebound. She was moving the ball effectively, pushing a high-tempo offense, and guiding the Fever to an early 8-4 advantage. The game transitioned into a commercial break with momentum firmly on their side. Yet, as play resumed after the broadcast timeout, Caitlin Clark was noticeably absent from the floor, relegated instead to the sidelines. The team's performance collapsed. Viewers sat through a display that eroded the promising start established in the opening minutes of the first quarter, where Clark had quickly amassed 2 points, 3 assists, and a rebound to build that 8-4 lead. When play returned from the commercial, the star guard remained out of the lineup. Clark was subbed out of the game with 6.5 minutes still remaining in the very first period. It is a decision that defies standard logic. Why would a coach remove her marquee player so early in the contest? Taking a star player off the floor with 6.5 minutes left in the opening quarter is baffling. Stephanie White sidelined her primary weapon before she could even find an offensive rhythm. In basketball, elite scorers require a continuous flow, and with the team leading and producing, the substitution halted that progress. By the time Caitlin was reinserted into the lineup, the Fever faced a 17-10 deficit. A 4-point advantage had transformed into a 7-point disadvantage, representing an 11-point negative swing created entirely by flawed rotation choices. The tactical move stripped away the team's confidence, handed complete control to the Portland Fire, and ensured that Caitlin Clark would struggle to regain her shooting touch for the remainder of the evening. Following that specific first-quarter decision, the matchup degenerated into total disarray. The entire game derailed into a complete catastrophe. Caitlin Clark concluded the night with just 6 points, converting only one of her 7 field goal attempts. However, it is difficult to critique her performance when the coaching staff appears to be actively hindering her success on the court. Throughout the entire game, Stephanie White failed to implement a single offensive set designed specifically for Caitlin Clark. Not one play was executed to free her up for a catch-and-shoot three-pointer moving toward her left. The offense offered absolutely nothing for its primary star, raising serious questions about the tactical approach. This feels like a total breakdown in strategy, unfolding clearly for everyone watching the broadcast. The decision-making raises doubts about the leadership of the front office, including figures like Lynn Dunn. At this juncture, the accountability covers the entire staff, and sweeping changes appear necessary for the organization to protect its star asset. The reality remains that Stephanie White did not run a single isolated play for Caitlin Clark during the entire duration of the game. The offense lacked off-ball screens designed to create open perimeter looks, and there were no tactical sets implemented to clear space for her driving to the left. Instead, the floor game devolved into an unorganized, chaotic scramble. It is hard to accept that a veteran professional coach could exhibit this level of strategic failure by accident. This looks like coaching malpractice at an elite professional level. Deprived of structured guidance, the rest of the roster appeared entirely disoriented on the floor. Look no further than Aaliyah Boston, the franchise's centerpiece player valued at $1.4 million. Boston was thoroughly outmatched by Megan Gustafson throughout the night. Gustafson enters matchups averaging 9 points per game, Yet she dictated the paint, finishing with 22 points on a flawless 8 of 8 performance from the field without missing a single shot. In contrast, Aaliyah Boston struggled heavily in the lane, forcing contested layups that completely missed the rim, with one attempt even lodging itself above the backboard structure. The interior battle was heavily tilted toward Megan Gustafson, who completely outplayed the Fever's frontcourt despite her modest 9-point season average. The execution was deeply flawed, highlighted by erratic shots hitting the top of the backboard structure. Even with a $1.4 million investment, the production failed to meet expectations. While Aaliyah Boston ultimately recorded 18 points in the box score, those production metrics occurred during garbage time with the outcome already decided. When the contest was still competitive, she was neutralized by a secondary option. Furthermore, during a crucial transition opportunity where Erica Wheeler and Katie Lou Samuelson established a clear 2-on-1 advantage, the play broke down, resulting in Aaliyah Boston hoisting an ill-advised trailing three-pointer from the perimeter that bounced violently off the glass. The issues extended beyond the frontcourt, as Kelsey Mitchell frequently forced individual plays, driving straight into congested defense rather than moving the ball to open teammates. Meanwhile, Temi Fagbenel, the organization's high-profile off-season acquisition, contributed just 8 minutes of action, registering 0 points and a solitary rebound while looking entirely out of sync with the pace of a regular-season WNBA game. The operational deficiencies seem to impact every level of the franchise. It is difficult to comprehend how the coaching staff could view these tactical patterns as effective strategy. The repetitive errors suggest an underlying issue that demands immediate institutional reform. The entire leadership group, including Lynn Dunn, Amber Cox, and Kelly Krauskopf, bears responsibility for these results. The front office failed to secure complementary talent in free agency, assembling a poorly constructed roster that lacks interior rim protection while employing a head coach whose system stifles a historic basketball prospect. The Portland Fire took full advantage, thoroughly outplaying Indiana on their home floor. Maddie Siegrist delivered an impressive performance with 16 points and 10 rebounds, while J.C. Sheldon controlled the tempo at the point guard position, exploiting the Fever's perimeter defense to finish with 18 points and 12 assists on 6 of 12 shooting. Additionally, Celeste Taylor connected from beyond the arc to contribute 15 points to the blowout. Portland operated with crisp, disciplined execution, whereas the Indiana Fever resembled an unorganized group playing a pickup game without any prior practice. The contrast was stark and deeply concerning. The final numbers tell a damning story of the blowout, with Maddie Siegrist anchoring the interior with 16 points and 10 rebounds, while Megan Gustafson capitalized on every opportunity to finish 8 of 8 for 22 points. J.C. Sheldon thoroughly outmaneuvered Caitlin Clark at the point guard spot, capitalizing on Clark's limited minutes due to early benchings and foul trouble to dictate the game with 18 points and 12 assists on efficient shooting. Celeste Taylor provided excellent perimeter support, adding 15 points behind a 3 of 9 showing from deep, alongside 6 rebounds and 4 assists. The Fever were completely outclassed across every statistical category, resulting in a demoralizing performance that remains difficult to justify or accept for anyone covering this team. The following perspective may alienate some viewers, but the current state of the franchise requires blunt honesty. The desire to see Caitlin Clark excel, score 30 points a night, and claim the Most Valuable Player award remains unchanged. However, supporting the Indiana Fever as a collective unit to win games under these conditions is no longer sustainable. Winning games right now merely validates Stephanie White's position and allows the front office to ignore deep-seated institutional flaws. Consequently, the optimal scenario involves Caitlin Clark delivering elite individual performances while the team continues to suffer decisive losses. A lopsided defeat against the Atlanta Dream next week could accelerate change. The losses need to accumulate until ownership is forced to intervene and remove Stephanie White from the sidelines. Her departure remains the primary objective, regardless of how it transpires. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark must exert her own influence within the organization by addressing the front office directly and requesting a departure from the franchise. Removing her from this counterproductive system is paramount, whether that means a move to Toronto to play under the guidance of Stephanie White or any organization capable of running a modern, efficient professional offense. Watching a historic talent being mismanaged is difficult for basketball fans. The floor is open to the audience. Share your perspectives in the comment section regarding whether this stems from strategic incompetence or a deeper issue from Stephanie White. Should Caitlin Clark seek an immediate exit via trade? Express your analysis below. Ensure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for unfiltered coverage throughout the season, and activate the notification bell for all